In this video, I will basically be talking about my cube collection here. I will be saying, like, what I've done with them, what I've made, and how I did it, stuff like that. But I will not get into detail about the VCube quality since I already posted a complete review about them. But I will tell the story behind them and such. Now, starting up with my 1x1 cubes. Now, this was the first 1x1 I made. It was shown in my early videos on how to take apart the 3x3, 2x2, and 4x4 cubes. And I originally made it out of a die, so I just got some of my hobby paint and painted it black. And then as for the stickers, I took my Rubik's Cube here and put it on my scanner and then scanned it into the computer. And then I printed that out with the 5 other colors, and then I put packing tape on the labels, cut them out, and glued them on with a glue stick. But then I realized that it's out of proportion. So if you take the Rubik's Cubes here and line them up, let's see this one, you can see that the 1x1 cube is much too small. I found out that a cube would need to be about 1 inch by 1 inch in order to be in proportion to these cubes. So I decided later on to make one. So I looked all over for a 1 inch by 1 inch wood block or plastic block or whatever, and I finally decided on Legos. So this cube here actually is made out of Legos. So I took Legos like this here and just connected them all together in a cube like this, and it turned out to be like 1 inch by 1 inch. And then I just cut off the excess Legos, the studs on the top, and these notches on the bottom. And then I sanded it all down, but then I ran out of hobby paint. So I got some cheap nail polish for it. I mean, this stuff is great. It leaves a nice shiny coating, it's cheap, and you don't need to clean the brush. So after I painted it black, I printed out the labels and glued them on the same way I did with this cube. And then shortly after, I made a 2x2x1, also out of Legos. It's a little squeaky, but yeah, it works. This was before I made this cube, so I made it to the same size as this one. Now, how I made this is I took Legos, like these right here, you know, with an axle in them. There are actually 2 layers of this type of Lego in there, so that it's not as loose. And then, to keep that in there, I just jammed a piece of plastic in that notch, and that prevented it from coming out. Then I took a Lego like this and cut out the bottom part, and then just stuck it on there. And then I glued all the Legos together, sanded it all down, painted it black, and put on the stickers. And then just recently, you know, as you may know, I am selling this VCube 6 on eBay, and with it, I am selling this ZCube 1. Now for the box, with my graphic design skills, I made this label. I scanned in the image of my VCube 5 box, and then changed the hue to make it purple. And then, for the picture, I just took a picture of this cube, and then cropped it down and put a glow around it, and then pasted it over the purplish VCube 5s on there. And then with my graphic design skills, I changed the VCube 5 to ZCube 1, and as you may know, the Z stands for zany, which just means comical, and I put zany right there. So I cut out a piece of poster board the same size as a piece of paper, ran it through the printer, and folded it all up. And then I put cardboard at the bottom with this little notch to keep the cube sturdy in there. So I built this cube the same way. I used white Legos in case the white nail polish I got for it would show through it. I used the Z logo instead of the VCube logo because the VCube logo is probably copyrighted, and since I'm selling this publicly, then I better change the logo for myself. Okay, now on to my 2x2x1. Now this thing was incredibly hard for me to make. I also made it out of Legos. Now that may actually be hard for you to believe. It is fully functional, so it's got an internal mechanism, and I also ordered magnets special for it so that it would make it more sturdy. So like these 2 pieces would stick together as you would turn it from the other pieces. As you can see in this video, this was before I painted it black and put all the stickers on it. And watch as I take it apart. You can basically see the internal mechanism from there and all the Legos. So here is what the mechanism looks now. I basically painted everything black. So, right there. So these things basically turn in there. And then when this piece turns, it hooks onto these pieces, and then I can bring it down like this. When I started building this, I really wasn't sure if I was going to succeed. So I basically used the same mechanism in this, although it was much more simplified because it's only got 4 little cubies. I basically used the Legos as a plastic. What I did then, I glued them together, I used a Dremel tool on them, I used a soldering iron to melt them, and I used various techniques to build this. And it's really fun to give to people because, you know, it's all mixed up and they play with it and they're like, whoa, I solved it! It's really fun to do. And the reason why they can solve it so easily is because there's only 6 different possible combinations, and there's like billions of combinations for the Rubik's Cube. So, I like doing that. Okay, now onto my 2x2 cubes. Yeah, this cube is pretty good. I lubricated it a long time ago with Vaseline and it's nice and smooth. But then I peeled off those clear outer layers off of the stickers because they tend to peeling, and then the stickers started fading a lot. And also on top of that, I switched the blue and yellow stickers because it had the old color scheme used like in the 1980s or something. And, you know, they now have a different color scheme on here, so I wanted to fix that. And that caused the blue and yellow stickers to fade a lot. So what I did is I wanted to get a 2x2 pocket cube. Now I could have ordered one directly from the Rubik's website for like $7, not including shipping, but then I found a local store in town that sells the Rubik's Junior Cube for only $6. That's $1 less than what the Rubik's website sold. And then I was going to be placing an order to Cubesmith.com anyway, so I decided to get 2x2 stickers for this cube. This way I could just peel off the Junior Cube stickers and then put these on, and then I'd have a 2x2 pocket cube. Now I don't recommend taking this cube apart. The difference between this cube and this cube is this one has a plastic slab that comes off easily, although I've glued it down because I almost lost it once. And this one, the plastic slab, came glued down. And one time when I was taking this apart, a little piece broke, but I was able to fix it with, like, a thumbtack pin. So, yes, I have lubed this one with Vaseline, and it's pretty good. Yeah, so I don't recommend taking this cube apart. And then after that, I decided to just take off those colorless stickers. But it's still cool to have a clear 2x2 here. And then I've got the Rubik's Swirl. This thing is just basically a 2x2, but it is much harder to solve. Because, you know, you don't have 3 colors that distinguish each corner. You have these different shaped continents, and it's hard to know which corner goes where and how it should be oriented. So, yeah, you need to know how to solve a 2x2 cube before attempting this thing, because I even have a little trouble with it. And then I've got the Rubik's UFO. This basically has 3 axes intersecting each other, which is an entirely new concept from the Rubik's Cube because they've only got 2 lines intersecting each other. So it basically turns like this, and then there's these 2 discs that move too. Let's see, I have not completely memorized the algorithms for this. I can get one side all by myself, but I still need to look at an algorithm sheet to get the other side. Okay, now onto my Rubik's Cubes. This was the first 3x3 I had gotten, and I did lubricate it with Vaseline. But one day, I was running up a dirt pile in a field nearby, and I guess this hit the dirt a little, and dirt got all throughout the cube, and it was half mixed up. And just to turn it gave me goosebumps. So I solved it, and that was a bad mistake because the dirt, I guess, roughened up the plastic. You know, even after I cleaned it all out, it still doesn't turn very well. So then, I got a new Rubik's Cube, and then, as you can see here, I got Cubesmith sticker tiles on here, and I will talk about the tiles after I'm done through all the cubes. And this cube is great. It is currently lubricated with Vaseline and is a great speed cube.